Hey guys, MCU Collector with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Retro Vintage Avengers Marvel Universe, however it is supposed to be titled. Here we have the Lady Loki, or Agent of Asgard Loki, as it is officially listed, I think, on pre-order websites and all of that. So Amazon, surprisingly, seems to be the first retailer to have gotten these in stock. I think that happened with one other one, which was the Spider-Man 2099 figure. I think Amazon was the first to ship out some pre-orders, so that was kind of interesting. But pretty excited to have this one. I never opened my A-Force box set. The old Toys R Us exclusive, so I never had one out of the package. I never messed with it, never checked it out to really see what it was like, and now I do, because this figure is essentially the same exact thing. Paint variations or slight color variations perhaps, but it's essentially the same exact figure. So if you never got that A4 set and really wanted a Lady Loki, you are now in luck. Or if you did get that A4 set and never opened it, now you're in luck because you can open just the single figure. Or if you got that A4 set and you already opened it, you're really not going to need this one unless you're going to want to keep it on card, like I have here. I got two, of course, because I get two of all of these things. This one kind of got all scuffed up with Amazon, but surprisingly they did ship out my two in a box, so that was pretty cool. But anyway, we get the same Loki logo up there that came with like the classic Loki figure in the same vintage retro packaging. We get the artwork for Lady Loki there. The little call out says Agent of Asgard, so not a whole lot going on there. Looking at the back of the package, we get the same artwork there. The brief bio for this Loki says the trickster god Loki is a master shapeshifter taking on nearly any appearance at will. So not really a whole lot to that bio. I think it's just to kind of justify that, hey, look, it's Lady Loki. So a really cool looking figure that has some really cool things to it. But in 2022 that we are in now, with some of the other comic figures that we've been getting, Hasbro has now started to do the digital face print for even the comic figures. That was something that there was MCU and Gamerverse only, and then they started to do it on comic figures. We saw with like the classic Loki, I think was the first one that I had noticed, because I had gotten mine probably a couple months ago now from GameStop. They actually use the digital print technology for like the eyes and the face and everything like that. This is a comic figure that does not use that digital print, which is odd, because this one is essentially released after. Not sure if maybe it was supposed to be before, or whatever the distribution issues may have been. This was definitely revealed after that figure. So maybe that all plays into it, but it's odd that this does not have that same digital print, unless they're doing it just to reissue the figure and do the same paint apps, the same makeup and everything like that. Could be the case. But anyway, let's rip this thing out of the card and check out the figure. There's some cool things, really cool things about it, so let's take a look. Okay, so here is the Lady Loki figure out of the package, and it is a really good one. So without further ado, let's get right into it, take a closer look at the details of the figure and everything like that. And I won't really do a comparison to the original release, but I have brought down my box set, so at least going to open the flap so you guys could see that version or that figure that was released there, so you could see the similarities between the two, and they are quite similar. Okay, so here's a closer look at the Agent of Asgard Loki, or Lady Loki. And this thing looks really good. We get these gold, like metal pieces in her hair. I'm not sure exactly what those are supposed to be throughout. She's got this crown right here with the two horns. Nice gold plastic color. You know, paint is always going to be better, but this definitely doesn't look bad. The scale look to the suit is pretty awesome. It's like an actual like digital print pattern that you see on there, which is really cool. I guess you would have to really see up close and with the bright lights. Sometimes you see the glare, but that does look really good along the torso, the legs, as well as the arms there. It came out looking pretty good. The green of the legs and everything is a metallic green, so you see a lot of marbleization throughout. Not so much in the thighs, but like the hip pieces and the arms, you could really see it. That looks really good. We get this golden, like yellow mustard deli mustard color cape there. It's kind of got a little bit of fur on there, with a little bit of dry brushing throughout to kind of give those details a little bit of pop. So that actually looks pretty cool. The original figure actually did have the same, but that's kind of where some of the color variation is going to come in, like this fur area. I think this one was a little bit darker. I'll have to take another look again to see kind of the differences, but it is very similar to that box set release. You have this sash piece here with the brown bands, some more of that gold, and then this yellow outline on like that skirt piece, and just wraps around the figure. That looks really good. Here are the boots, these kneecap pieces right there, brown paint along those portions there, but it all looks really, really good. I like it. My big complaint about the head sculpt though is the head. It keeps, like, she wants to keep looking up, so looking straight, see, it's like how her face is kind of slanted down. I just think that's a little bit odd. Not that big of a deal. That's being super nitpicky, but when looking at it, it's like she's constantly looking up. And it's hard to really adjust down because of how the hair is. I mean, I guess you could do it a little bit, but then it just looks, I don't know, it fits on there kind of funky. And that's partly because of this, this cloak piece. And it just rests on there. I think this is the same. I think Shuri came with the same one. I don't think this is anything new. I think we've seen it in the past. I'm not sure if whether this was the first time that we saw it or if it was in the Shuri Black Panther 2-pack. But I believe it's the same. As you can see there, skin tone paint looks pretty good. No complaints there. The head does pop off quite easily, but you can see how that hair was sculpted on to really accommodate this cape that she's wearing. So it just sits on there, and you just pop that head right back on there, like so. I forgot to mention this, but she actually has her fingernails painted, so that looks pretty good. The only accessories that she comes with are a pair of fists. So we have fists, no fingernails painted on these fists. Green, like, magic effect pieces would have been pretty cool, but not that big of a deal, I guess. I'm sure there's other effect pieces we could use, but the paint apps on this look really good. I really like the metallic green. Really good looking figure, and I'm glad I can actually have one out of the package now without having to have opened my A-Force box set. So now let's see if I can get that box set and we can do a little bit of the side-by-side comparison, or somewhat of a side-by-side comparison. Okay, so here is my box set. It's an awesome box set. If you guys did not get this, this is an awesome box set. It comes with She-Hulk, Singularity, Elsa Bloodstone, Monica Rambeau, Photon, and then of course Lady Loki. This was an awesome pack that, for whatever reason, lots of people didn't want. It was a Comic-Con Toys R Us exclusive, so some Toys R Us stores did get it, but it was also sold at Comic-Con through like the Entertainment Earth booth or something like that. And it was a really good box set. A lot of people passed on. They're like, oh, I don't want that. They're not paying that. They waited for it to go clearance when the stores were closing and all this and that. And then people started getting it. And then WandaVision came out, and it's like, oh shit, we need a Monica Rambeau figure. So then this figure started going up high in price. I don't know, the Lady Loki I think started to as well. So it's kind of cool that Hasbro actually went ahead and announced this figure, because then people were kind of able to get it. So that was really cool. But looking at the two figures side by side, and we'll kind of zoom in a little bit, you can see that they're the same figure. One thing that I'm looking at this one and I'm like, something just seems off with the face. And it's the smallest of details. The eyes on the new one are painted just a little bit closer together than the original one. And that kind of throws it off a bit. Like, I'm looking at them like, man, what's kind of going on here? And that's what it is. So the eyes just a little bit closer together, not quite cross-eyed or anything like that, but definitely closer together, and that's really, really throwing it off. But essentially, the same exact figure, the same paint apps, there's really no difference. The skin tone might be a little bit different as well, but the figure is essentially the same. The colors are very similar. The scale portions here on the thighs are a little bit lower than the ones that were on the original release. So, you have... Let me zoom out a little bit. So you see this portion here is a little bit above the knee, where on the original release it's way above the knee, as you can see kind of the dark space there. But again, essentially the same exact figure. Now I believe when this original one, people had a lot of issues with the horns breaking. And that would kind of work based off of the comic look where the horn would kind of break. I'm looking at mine now and it looks like it might already be cracked. So that scares the hell out of me. So it's a good thing I didn't really open that one. But that kind of sucks knowing that inside that package at any moment that little horn could kind of break off. But the good thing is I have this one to kind of mess with and everything, and I really don't have to worry about it because, again, essentially the same exact figure. So if you missed out, don't worry. Pick this one up. You are in luck. Man, I'm looking at it, and yeah, it's already cracked in there. Damn. I don't know. I guess maybe that was a widespread issue. I remember lots of people saying that theirs was cracked or whatever. But since I never took mine out of the package or anything like that, I just never needed to really look at it. And it could be a couple of things. So the horns themselves are likely a separate piece glued in there. Maybe that one's just not pushed in as much, but it definitely looks like there were some QC issues with that crown right where that horn connects. Man, so that is just too bad. But looking at, again, this one, see how the eyes look really good because they have pretty good spacing. And then looking at this new one, right, something just slightly off from it. And again, it's because I think the eyes are painted a little bit closer together. But again, still essentially the same exact figure. Same makeup colors and all of that as well. Okay, so let's take a look at how Lady Loki can move. So most female figures, because of the big ass hair sculpts that they have, you're going to be extremely limited. So you're really not going to be able to get her to look down, really not going to be able to get her to look up. Even side to side movement is going to be difficult because of the cape and the way the hair is. So you're really not going to be able to get her to move those around or anything. So even with the cape, you can get the arm to go essentially straight out. This body mold is a little bit different. You actually have an upper bicep swivel on these arms while still getting a single jointed elbow, which gives you just about 90 degrees, and then another swivel at the elbow as well. Wrists swivel and they do hinge like so. Diaphragm joint on Lady Loki so she can pivot to her side only that much, not a whole lot. She can pivot to her other side that much, a little bit more it looks like. Coming forward is really nothing. Going back is going to be a little bit, but the cape is really going to get in the way, as you can see there. And then the scale kind of stops, but the way it's, the paint apps, like the light green, it almost has kind of a spray effect, so it kind of transitions a little bit nicer in there. And then a swivel at that diaphragm joint because there's no waist swivel or anything like that. Legs go out that far apart. She can kick forward that high, so that is actually really, really good. Leg doesn't really go back. You have an upper thigh cut in there. You get a double jointed knee like so, and that looks really good there. No calf swivel or anything like that. Foot hinges all the way down. A little bit of hinge up, not a whole lot. Ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So decent articulation. The female figures haven't had very much ever, so you know it can move around a decent amount. And I really like that how the cape just really does not fall off, because that hair piece really keeps the cape sitting on her shoulders nicely. Okay, and to wrap up and finish out the review, here is the Loki Agent of Asgard Lady Loki figure next to the classic Loki. Both of these figures were released on the retro card this year. Some folks may have gotten this one late last year, 2021, but for me, a 2022 release. So very different versions of Loki. The greens don't match, the yellows don't match, but they are both Loki, God of Mischief. Both really decent figures. For those that missed out on the first one, which was a much easier figure to get a hold of, but with the release of the Loki TV series, this head sculpt really looks like the classic Loki from the show. So I think that's actually a pretty good selling point. The digital face print on this was absolutely fantastic. We reverted backwards going into this figure, which is essentially just a reissue, repainted anyway. But I'm happy to have it. So for those that missed out on the A-Force box set or just didn't want the A-Force box set but really liked the way the Lady Loki figure looked, here is your chance, because this one is actually a really good one. So this is one that I do recommend. I love the metallic green on it. The paint apps are really solid. Really good release. So there you go. I have pre-order links down in the video description below. But that's my review. You guys let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on the Loki Agent of Asgard figure. Let me know what you thought of the review. If you liked it, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.